All right, Shannon, thank you. A Palm Beach Gardens man was able to escape the turmoil in Egypt. Even though he is safe and back in South Florida, he tells News Channel 5 he cannot seem to erase the images of violence he experienced while he was there. News Channel 5's Rochelle Ritchie has the story of his journey back from Egypt. Rochelle?
Well, Jim, leaving his hotel that he stayed at for 5 days as gunfire could be heard outside his window, he says Egyptian employees at the hotel begged for him to tell the U.S. what was happening in their city.
I'm an American, I'm an American.
It was the only phrase that kept 26-year-old Joshua Goodman from being thrown into jail.
It was a mess. It was an absolute zoo.
Goodman had been in Egypt just 3 days before the protests broke out. He was there visiting and waiting on word from universities on his PhD status.
Up until Tuesday afternoon, things were really just business as usual.
But things quickly turned into a historical movement.
I found the streets blocked off by the police, and there were a number of protesters, maybe 100 or 200. What began as probably 200 people was soon numbered in the thousands. I knew that this was out of the ordinary. Public demonstrations are not really permitted.
And are punishable by law. Goodman says as things escalated, thoughts of going home never crossed his mind. Instead, he grabbed his camera and began recording. But as the crowd spiraled out of control, he says the police fired tear gas into the crowds, and some demonstrators picked them up and threw them back.
Police began firing tear gas canisters into the crowd. And as the crowd began dispersing, as I turned to run away, I felt two pairs of hands grab me.
For the rest of his time, Goodman stayed in his hotel and listened as gunfire could be heard outside his window. But one night, he says the shots came too close.
The two people that were working at the hotel told me what was going on. They said the police are shooting. They said that the demonstrators are being fired at. We hear a number of shots that, very clearly are coming from right outside the hotel. And so we get down, we get in a corner.
And Goodman says the two hands that had actually grabbed him were Egyptian secret police. Now, Goodman holds a master's from Tel Aviv University in Middle Eastern history. He says another problem facing the city is the lack of resources coming in, such as food for the people, as deliveries right now are at a standstill. I'm Rochelle Ritchie, WPTV News Channel 5.